Welcome everybody in Fishland. Today we're going to do a stupid little video. That's right, coming straight from me. Alright, I'm going to talk about today about my experiences fishing at Anishinabi Lodge. This is a lodge located in Northwest Ontario in Canada. They have great lake trout fishing, also have walleye, smallmouth, and of course snot rockets, and also large northern pike. Alright, this is their website. I'm not going to talk too much about that. This is pretty much a few hours north of Kenora. The lodge just got purchased this year by a company called Carter's Resorts and Outposts, and for about $1,000 you can have a week-long stay going, and they'll fly you in and fly you back out after the week. Alright, not talking about them though. I've never dealt with them. We've drove for several years and they're brand new owners, so I'll be meeting them here in a few months. Alright, I've only been to Anishinabi in the last week of May or first week of June, which is pretty much a week or two after ice has been removed from the lake. So we've pretty much had the trout sitting in shallower areas or 25 foot or so. Alright, so I'm just going to pretty much show you the map of the lake and then kind of explain where we fish, in case you want to venture there and you want to know where you possibly go. Alright. It's a big lake, so I'm sure I haven't hit every honey hole. So we go back to some proven spots, but here we go. Alright, this is Google Maps of Anishinabi Lake. I'm going to kind of zoom in here and move, but when you fly into this little island here. They have 5 or 6 cabins and of course the lodge. They also have surrounding lakes. This here is another trout lake called Lake Isabella. You pretty much take a short little boat ride over to this area and then you walk about 30 minutes to 40 minutes. And then you flip over boats, and the lake trout are not quite as big as the big lake, but if you want good numbers and you want a smaller lake to maneuver, you know, if it's a windy day, this is a good place to go. Recommend to go here one day just for good exercise, and 2 to catch a lot of trout. All right, this here is Cat Lake. Never been there, but people tell me it's got a lot of northern. So if you like going for northern pike, you could take there. They do have I think 1 boat over there, maybe 2. By the way, Isabella I think only has 1 boat. Maybe they have 2. Whenever I've been over there, there's only been 1 boat. So alright, so I'm going to kind of expand back out here. You'll notice that this part of the lake is a little bit shallower. You can kind of tell that just based, these might be clouds on, but it is a little bit shallower part. The lake in general is, you know, up to 280 foot deep. And you'll notice when you get too far away from any island or any shore, it drops off, you know, quite quickly to 40 to 60 foot of water. So we typically fish the 20 to 25 foot, or 20 to 25 foot. If we're looking for northerns, we'll just go a little bit shallower, closer to the bank, and get to 10 or 15. All right. First spot that we typically will fish that's pretty close to the island is this area here. This is called Boob Island. Kind of looks like 3 boobs, but from the lake, or I'm sorry, from the lodge, it looks like 1 island here and 1 here. But the cluster is called Boob Island, even though there's 2. There's a little bit of a sunken island between the 2 where it kind of can get a little bit shallower, but we pretty much troll the inside part of that. This is a great place to fish if it's a real windy day. Usually the winds are coming from this direction, which will cause a lot of whitecaps on the lake. This area will stay a little bit more wind covered because the waves will be a little bit less. So if it's real windy, we usually will fish more closer to the lodge just for safety reasons. All right. Typically 15 to 20 foot, usually 20 to 40 foot away from the banks. We have fished all around it and caught an occasional northern and trout, but typically the inside portion is the best. All right. The next place I'm going to show you is right here. This is considered what's called a rock wall. It's a big rock face, and the water gets 80 to 100 foot where my little mouse is. We usually fish along here, and then as it gets shallow, we've caught a lot of Lakers and northern in this area. It'll dip down to 10 foot, but we usually try and curve it to where we're catching just around 20, and then we'll wrap it around. Now we're typically trolling about 100 foot behind us with spoons, or if it's a week after ice is gone and the Lakers are real shallow, we'll do also Rapalas and other type of jerk baits and crankbaits. All right. We also have caught trout on this side, on this next bay over. It gets a little bit shallower, but I haven't had a lot of luck besides that. This here is, let's back up here. This is called the Big Island. This is the biggest island that's in the lake. We have caught Lakers on the back side of here, and maybe one or two on the front side. Actually, we caught a few down here last year when it was real windy. We didn't want to get on the main lake for fear of drowning Kevin Zabka, who cannot swim and was very hungover. But not the hottest spot. Definitely want to fish there if you're on your way in to the lodge, because it is pretty close. So if you're fishing late at night and you need to get close to home, that's a good spot to fish. All right, let's back out here. All right, this little section here is my favorite fishing spot. This area is called Tornado Bay. Our best luck has been right around this area. There's some rock formations right here, and there's a lot of birds that will hang out there, and we pretty much will troll from here and then just kind of go on down until it starts getting about 10 foot and we're getting close to pike land or a little bit shallower water. But we've caught about 100 trout here, so definitely if you go into this lake, you want to fish this little section right next to where the gulls are, or Gull Rock. All right, we've also had good success in the 15 to 25 range on this run here. Last year we spotted smallmouth here and also here. So some smallmouth in this lake in the last few years. They kind of came from the northern part of the lake and have migrated into the big lake, but that's somewhat of a new thing. All right, so right here is also another rock face where it gets real deep. We will vertical jig here if it's dead calm and there's no chop on the water. We will fish this area because usually the fish tend to go a little bit deeper, and they can also see us in the shallower water when it's real calm. By the way, this lake is very clear. We use mostly silver, shiner, gold colors. If it's cloudy, of course, gold will typically work pretty good. But mostly if you have a silver spoon of some sort on, or a little bit of blue and silver, you'll do pretty good. There's a lot of different spoons that have worked. If you're using a crankbait, I recommend it to be a minnow, kind of like a shad type pattern. All right, we've fished in here. It gets pretty shallow. We've caught a few trout over the years, but not many. We pretty much stick to here, but we like the main area of here and here in Tornado Bay. Tornado Bay by far my favorite spot. All right, let's back out. All right, this here area is called the North Arm. Currently at the very tip of the North Arm, you'll see this here little speck here. This is the outpost. There's a cabin there that you can book, and we've had real good success of fishing for trout and big northern in this area. Last year we did better actually over here, but traditionally the west side has been a little bit better in the 20 to 25 foot water. Last year, you know, we got northerns here, but also if we got in 25, we got a lot of Lakers the last day of our trip. All right, haven't done too well here, but we fished it a little bit. But the North Arm is my second most favorite place to fish. All right, we've fished around here, never had too much luck. We have caught a Laker here towards the south part of North Arm, but in general, we haven't caught much around here. This area of the lake is considered, it's called Glacier Bay. Unfortunately, I've never had much luck. We caught one northern in here last year, but it's a little bit shallower up here, and you would think there'd be a lot of northerns, but we have only given this area about 1 day a week and a few hours, but we've never got any, you know, hot hits to kind of keep fishing there. All right. Another good little spot that we've had success with is this little nook right here. The main launch where you used to kind of come into the parking is right here, and then you kind of ATV all your gear to this spot. This is the landing area. This little section here is called Trapper's Bay, and we did really well early in the spring if it's right out after ice out with the Lakers coming in here to eat in the shallows. It's about 15 to 20. In the middle of the bay, it's 25. We've also had some luck between the, you know, on this point on the other side of it here. There's also been some luck in the 25 to 35 foot water using dipsy divers. I've never done it, but, you know, people in our group have. All right. By the way, we do have one group that will run downriggers, and they go in the middle, more in the deeper water, and fish 25 to 30, and they have done pretty well the last couple years doing it. All right, well, that's pretty much my favorite spots. Trapper Bay, Tornado Bay, Northern Arm, those are the money spots. And then, of course, around this island and the back side or front side of this island. Go to Isabella for a day. Now, we do have some other lakes around. This here lake is called Gahuna. Typically, you would take ATVs from the main little portage, and then you come here and you fish this. They have a couple boats there. I went there once, got shut out, but it was real early in the season, and there was no vegetation at all. This here is Lake 1, Lake 2, and Lake 3. You pretty much have a portage from around here, and you walk about 30 minutes to get to Lake 1. It's a nice little lake for walleyes and small snot rockets. Lake 2 and 3 I have not fished, but I have been in Lake 1. It is kind of fun because you will go through some marshy and some beaver dams and some shallow water that you have to pull across. So definitely want to go walleye fishing and have some exercise on that trip one day. All right, now the main place is the best place to go to fish for walleye is called Howard Lake. The locals at the lake have always called this Duck Lake. But you pretty much travel up the North Arm and then through this little grassy area here where you'll occasionally see a moose. You then drive straight across the lake to a portage. And then you have about a 15-minute, 20-minute walk. And then you flip over the boats and you fish it. On Howard Lake, the best spots have typically been on this little rock here. This rock does okay, but if you kind of fish this area here jigging at 9 to 10 foot of water, you'll do really well. Gets a little bit deeper here. The whole lake is probably anywhere from typically 6 foot to 20, 22 foot deep. It doesn't get real deep. Another good spot is right in this area. You can also just cast along the banks in 8 to 9 foot and you'll catch small walleyes. There's a lot of walleye here. You'll have no problem getting a limit. But that is definitely the best place to, if you want to do a couple days of walleye fishing, I recommend there. The walk is short. You don't have to pull your boat over beaver dams. So if you do have, you're getting older, or you have a handicap, that's definitely the best place to go. This here is Halverson Lake. It pretty much has northern pike only. There might be some smallmouths in here. We've not fished it too much. We travel through it, but we don't fish it much. Now, if you want to go smallmouth fishing, you take this little run right here, and this will kind of take you through the river. But this rock right here, this here is what we call Smalley Rock, and you pretty much just kind of float around it, and you throw top waters or worms, and you will, you know, catch you 5 to 6 smallmouth an hour. So we usually would go in the morning to duck. Then once we get off that lake so other people can use it, we'll have to be back in our main boat, and we will kind of do some smallmouth fishing. Definitely recommend to do that for a day or so. They're all good size. They're all, you know, 2 to 4 pounders, and they're good little fighters, and they're pretty active. Never been to this lake here. I'm not sure if there's access. All right. So that is pretty much it. That's Anishinabi. So if you're going to want to lake trout fish, and then you want to go to Tornado Bay, you want to fish the North Arm, both the east and west shores. Don't waste a lot of time here unless you are with somebody that's proven to win there, or you're using maybe downriggers will work better there. All right, that's about it. It's a great little lake. Not many boats on this lake, just 4 or 5 lodges, and it's a big lake, so enjoy your trip.